All right, man, let's talk about the Detroit Pistons real quick. Don't forget to check out our Detroit Piston Talk playlist and Piston 101 live playlist. If you miss any of our live Piston shows so you don't miss them, make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, so you can be part of the notification gang. But let's talk about Detroit Pistons, needing to move on from Dwane Casey and talk about some possible replacements, all right? So my personal gripe with Dwane Casey is I just don't think he a good coach. And I damn sure don't think he a good coach for younger players. The way he threw Diambo under the bench, he was putting his public business out there, and just the way he handled that situation just let me know there's a disconnect. Now, there was a lot coming out of Toronto that a lot of the players didn't like him. All right, he wasn't a likable guy. And you know what? He comes off as a guy that I just don't like from the media. All right. I just don't like the way he coaches. I don't think the players respond to him offensively. There's no innovation defensively. They're not a good defensive team, and that could be more personnel than him. But I don't see what he brings to the table, and I don't see what he brings to the table to a bunch of young guys. All right. He didn't want to play Christian Wood until they traded Andre Drummond, and he had to. It's a lot of guys that he just refused to play. Now, had everybody been healthy, you would have never probably seen Christian Wood hit the floor. You know what I'm saying? He was playing Thon Maker more than Christian Wood. And nobody on this, before Dre got traded, nobody on this God green earth that's a Piston fan that watched the games could understand that. Okay? None of these young guys would have got no run this year, no development this year, had Luke Kennard stayed healthy, Derrick Rose stay healthy, Blake Griffin stay healthy. None of these dudes would have got no burn. All right? And that's just the God honest truth. And I don't see what he brings to the table for a team that's a contender, a team that has championship aspirations, or a team that's rebuilding. If you're rebuilding, I don't think Dwane Casey is your guy. When you got a young team and you rebuilding, well, you got a couple options. You can go with a younger coach that he can build with the younger guys. You can go with a coach that's already, helped the younger core get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So those are kind of your options right there. And we got a few guys right here. And I think Jerry Stackhouse, who's won on the G League level, not sure how he did in Vanderbilt last year, but he's the head coach at Vanderbilt, I still believe. All right? He's a young coach. You know what I'm saying? He can help the young guys grow. He's old enough to still be mature than most of the young guys. But then again, he's still young enough to get out there and they remember what he did in this league. And he can still get out there and run and jump and do a little things with the guys. He's kind of like those veteran players I spoke on, like Derrick and Blake, what they mean to the younger guys and how important they are. Because sometimes there's a disconnect, like Dwane Casey. He's just old and stubborn and lame, all right, to a lot of the young guys. There's a disconnect there. He's the coach, and that's as far as it go. The veteran players that, like the Dudleys on the end of the bench, or for us, Blake and Tony Stale and Derrick Rose, they kind of can, be the bridge between, the player and the coach. They like player coaches. The maturity is there, but they still can play. And a lot of the young guys respect them. They can show them their workout routine. And they not old as hell where it's a disconnect socially. They socially can plug in. With Jerry Stackhouse, he's still young enough to socially be able to plug in with a lot of the young guys. Not saying he's gonna take us from, young team to championship team. He might can. But a lot of the cases you got the Rick Carlisle, Larry Brown handoff. A lot of cases is this guy took us there. Now we're gonna go with this coach to take us the rest of the way. Jerry Stackhouse could be the bridge. Mark Jackson, Steve Kerr was another one. Mark Jackson is a guy that's done it before. He's a guy that took a young core and Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and he got them to the point where they became contenders. Steve Kerr kind of took them to the next level, perception-wise, put more emotion in the offense. It wasn't as ISO-oriented as Mark Jackson, and he took them to the championship. But Mark Jackson has took a young group of guys and turned them into contenders. That's all you ask for from this coach that's coming in. You know what I'm saying? And Mark Jackson is still pretty much young enough And, with his brother Escalade, who passed away not too long ago, rest in power to him from N1, he kind of still, he got the line for it. And the players still, they know him and they respect him. And I think he learned from his mistakes. And understand they whiteballing him out the league. It talks about him pushing his religion, being a little immature in the locker room, playing favorites. I believe sitting behind the desk, sitting behind the camera, he's learned he learned his lesson, and he learned from his mistakes. He's a guy that been there, done that. As an NBA player and as pretty much as a coach, he been there. So he knows what it takes, and I'm pretty sure just because you fall and bump your head doesn't mean you can't learn from it. Alvin Gentry did a terrible job with the Pistons. He went on. He's an okay coach there. Byron Scott is out there. You know what I'm saying? David Finsdale, who got a raw deal in New York. Now, one thing, and before I get to Kenny Atkinson, that was the Nets coach, one thing I didn't like about Finsdale in New York is he didn't play his best players, and he didn't develop young players well. So he wanted a guy that I just wouldn't risk it. Jason Kidd is another guy. They like Jason Kidd. Once again, he in the category of Mark Jackson and Jerry Stackhouse. Young, still young enough to basically get for players to know what he done, but old enough to still get that respect. And he's built teams, but once again, he's failed over and over again. But he's built young cores up to the point that Mark Jackson has done. He built them up, and another coach took them to the next level. You feel me? So once again, you gotta look at him as well. But, I would like to see them get the coach down there in Phoenix. I can't remember his name. He's in Phoenix now. Monty Williams. He would have been a good coach. But, then again, that is what it is. Luke Walton, he went to the Kings. Don't think he going nowhere no time soon. You all got to see who else out there. But I do think Kenny Atkinson should be ranking high on the list. I think he might be in demand, like highly in demand, because the job he did with the Nets last year, 2 years ago, was significant. The jump they made, they was a young team that was, on the rise, and KD and Kyrie wanted to go there. He didn't really mesh well with Kyrie, so they split ways. And who meshed well with Kyrie? Kyrie is a weirdo to every word, to every syllable in that word. That's what he is. He's weird. Kyrie shut down on LeBron. Kyrie didn't make it in Boston. Kyrie, does it surprise me Kyrie don't make it, couldn't make it with Kenny Atkinson? No. But Kenny Atkinson is a guy that showed before. He worked well with young players. He developed them. He's got a modern day NBA coaching style. Young guys, he did a great job with them. So Kenny Atkinson will rank high on my list. You know what I'm saying? Very, very high on my list. So I don't have no issue with bringing him in. So, like I said before, Dwane Casey is a waste. They should go ahead and pay, kick him out, bring a young coach in. Ime Udoka is another young coach that's on the rise. People talking about Tim Duncan. I don't think he's done enough yet through the Cantor ranks. I wouldn't even consider Becky Hammonds. I'm not even going to go there. This ain't Sunset Park. If you're too old, if you're too young not to understand that reference, go look at the movie Sunset Park. But like I said, I like Ime Udoka. I like Jerry Stackhouse, Mark Jackson, Kenny Atkinson. I mean, some guys around those lines, Finsdale Kid, I'm not really high on them. Ime Udoka, I like him as a coach to come in, young guy that can grow with him. But like I said before, I think it should be the end of the line for Dwane Casey. Last year just showed me that he don't know what he's doing. If you're not paying attention in practice to what Christian Wood doing, and if he has some foul trouble, so be it, Give him the minutes. He should have had Thon Maker minutes. Thon was doing absolutely nothing. I wanted Thon Maker here. I thought he would do better here, but he just ain't that good. And he should have had Thon Maker minutes before Dre left. But they kept playing him. You know what I'm saying? He had something against him or whatever it was. And when he got to play full-time minutes, you got the results that you got. So Dwane Casey will be hitting the road. I just don't think he's a likable guy. I don't think he fit to handle young guys. I think he's too old. I think his style it's just not good for this league, man. So, just my opinion. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let me know if you agree or another coaching candidate out there that I missed over. But also, Brian Shaw still out there. Byron Scott still out there. But out the guys I really like, I like these three the most, man. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to check out our Detroit Piston playlist. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter's the quickest way if you got business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video requests. Want to make a donation to the channel? Cash App, PayPal, description. Best way to donate is to share the video. One time for the one time.